Welcome to Bleav in 76ers with your hosts, former 76ers point guard Eric Snow and two Sixers fanatics in Marcus and Tasia Dash. Bleav in 76ers is presented by betonline.ag.
Ladies and gentlemen, it is that time of the year. It's football season, and you know what that means? It means it's time to get in on BetOnline. BetOnline is the world's most trusted betting platform and your number one source for everything football. BetOnline has every stat, every matchup, and even live odds and spreads to bet on during the games. Think you know your stuff? Get in on our $200,000 mega contest and pick 5 games against the spread every week for your chance at weekly prizes and a share of $200,000. When the game's over, head on over to our online casino and get in on a game of blackjack or poker or unwind with one of our 150 slot games. Head to the website today and get in on the action. BetOnline. The game starts here. Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of Bleav in 76ers podcast. I'm Marcus Dash here with legendary 76ers point guard Eric Snow and my brother Tasia Dash. Guys, coming off a loss against the Magic, but tonight we have a chance at redemption to get another game back on the Orlando Magic. And obviously in this episode, we're going to get to some of the latest updates on Joel Embiid. But before that, and we also have some questions from you all, from the subscribers that we'll get into as well. But before we get into that, what were some of the things you guys took away from Wednesday night's game against the Orlando Magic?
I mean, we fought. We fought and gave ourselves a chance to win, which was a little disappointing because those type of games were the games we sometimes find a way to pull out. So I thought we were going to win that game, but it's just hard because it's just another defeat. It's another L in that loss column, which as they pile up, it just makes it harder and harder. So that was disappointing to continue to get that. But I did like the fight that we had. It's just a few things that always happen during the game. Teams go on the run, or we make a run, and we just can't never maintain some kind of momentum to kind of get us over the hump.
Yeah, we lost the first game against them without Maxey, but with George and Embiid. This time, no Embiid, no George, but Maxey. And then it looks like tonight will be George and Maxey, no Embiid. So we're almost playing the Magic with every single combination possible, which is interesting. But, yeah, I think we played pretty well being undermanned. I know they didn't have their full load of players either, but we're missing George and Embiid. It's kind of a big deal. Don't lose by 4, and Maxey was 0 of 7 from 3. Not really a good game from him. So I think playing that close, considering our best player not playing so great, it's a positive. But yeah, like Eric said, it's another loss. We can't really afford any losses that are that are within our grasp. It hurts a lot right now.
Yeah, continuing to dig ourselves in this hole. I have seen some, obviously, Sixers fans, in one of the questions tonight, we'll kind of target a little bit from one of our subscribers, but I'm seeing the Sixers fans want us to kind of, throw up the white flag, shut Embiid down, trade Yabusele, do everything he can right now just to get, assets for next year and whatnot, because Yabusele's, I guess, right now his value is really high since he's an expiring contract and he's playing really well, but I think if we are trying to get, which I think the organization, everyone still wants to get into the playoffs, the play-in at least, Yabusele's become huge, especially with Paul George being out as much as he has been, and Embiid being out as much as he has been. I think if you trade Yabusele, I think you put yourselves in a really tough spot. And I think if you do trade Yabusele, I think we're waving the white flag. So do you guys see the pros and cons of trading Yabusele, which a lot of Sixers fans want to do?
I mean, I think that trades are hard because you always have a guy that in most cases that you like and there's a value of you are usually the ones that go somewhere else. If it wasn't a value, then you wouldn't have all these people not wanting him to go. So that's a hard part because sometimes you have to lose some value to probably get more value or get the value that you want, or need, basically. I think At the end of the day, I think if the Sixers' goal is still to win a championship, it's still to make the playoffs and win the championship, you have to do whatever's necessary to put yourself in the best position to make that happen. I don't know what that'll look like, but that's what your approach has to be if that's still your goal. So I don't think that I don't envision them making decisions and saying we're rebuilding or we're going on the youth movement with the guys that they have on their team. I think that went out the window when they gave Paul, that 4-year deal, in my opinion.
Yeah, I think Yabusele, trading him comes with giving up the season, right? He's been one of our most consistent players. I'd say
I wouldn't say giving up by trading him. I wouldn't say that equates to giving up on the season. I wouldn't say that. Because it also depends on if you're moving somebody with him or who you're receiving in return.
Oh, yeah.
If you're just trading him for a pick or something like that, then yeah, maybe so. But
yes,
it kind of depends.
That's what I meant.
It kind of depends on what that trade is.
Yeah. Yes. Now, if it's a package of KJ Martin, Yabusele, and a pick for Kuminga, if that's the kind of deal we're talking about, I see why they're doing that.
Yeah,
they're trying.
That's one side of it. That's one side of it. But another side of it is if you can't sign him and you aren't going to be able to sign him, do you let him walk in the summer or do you try to get some value from him? Because he's outplaying his contract.
Yeah. Yeah. But in the example I gave,
that's the business. That's the business part of it. It's not necessarily the best basketball decision, but it's probably the best business decision.
Yeah. But then again, management and they've said that ownership said that they're fine going over the cap, going over the tax lines for the best possible roster necessary. That's why you'd want to get a Kuminga type. You plan on going over the cap, right?
Yeah, I don't know. I believe that when I see it. So I don't trust that we'll go over the cap stuff when teams say it. I do believe they'll go over the cap, but I don't believe they'll go over the cap for anybody.
Yes, I think they're going to have to see the long-term plus. If we trade for a Kuminga type, I think they're planning on re-signing him and going over the cap, right? Is that what you would assume?
Yeah. That's what I say. I mean, I just say I don't see them envision them doing it for anybody, but there are guys that I believe they will do it for.
I mean, yeah, I just think it's just Yabusele's been everything we've pretty much wanted him to be, man. Toughness, rebounding, 40% from three. I mean, we asked for it. He's giving it to us. Good off the bench, good starting.
I mean, I think he's been definitely been a positive. I think most of the times when he when he was kind of not necessarily a positive is sometimes when we played him at center and he's been undersized.
Yes.
That has hurt us at times, but that's not necessarily his fault. That's just his size and the position we playing on. But he is for a minimum guy. He's done extremely well. Especially with his ability to stretch the court, has definitely helped. He does struggle a little bit in defensively. He's a bigger guy, but he's a shorter guy. So sometimes you envision guys that are shorter being a little better defensively, like in pick and rolls and stuff like that. But those are things I think in other ways he's kind of makes up for that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely McCain and Yabusele have been the bright spots this the start of the season so far. But yeah, I saw a few reports yesterday. Sixers fans quote tweeting these reports, but I know Evan Sidery tweeted yesterday that contenders are looking at Yabusele, and it's contenders, man. We are a contender. Why are
we're supposed to be a contender?
Yeah.
It
just really irks me.
We're a pretender right now.
Right now, yeah.
Yeah. Well, I guess pretending's over. We're sleeping. Right
Yeah,
now.
we are who we are, I guess.
I'm pretending.
Right
Yeah.
now. Yeah. This iteration of the team, not the team with the big three playing, because they've only played 5 minutes with each other. So
Sure. Yeah.
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 All right, so we're gonna get to the latest updates here. So Joel Embiid, the latest. So another week has come and gone without Joel Embiid getting on the floor. A positive, though, is that the injury report just says injury management now, no longer accompanied by Embiid's mysterious personal reasons, which no one really knows what those are. But now it's just injury management, no personal reasons behind that anymore. More things are becoming clear about Embiid's mysterious knee issues. Kyle Neubeck reported that the Sixers did their due diligence before extending him. Quote, a group of around 5 to 7 doctors, sources say, did extensive testing and evaluating of Embiid during 3 main periods, following his injury against Golden State in late January, before his return of the end of the 2023-2024 regular season, and before the extension in late September. Those evaluations produced a view that was broadly described as optimistic, but with a range of different possible outcomes. The Sixers, unfortunately, have ended up on the negative side of those outcomes in the short term. That said, the issues Embiid has to deal with are viewed as manageable, and there is some science suggesting that the situation can actually improve over time. In essence, that argument is that the knee can adjust to the new normal, and Embiid would be able to maintain a high level of play with proper care, treatment, and a bit of good luck. Also, another report came out this week from ESPN's Tim Bontemps. According to league sources, they don't believe the Sixers will make a full-on attempt to keep their pick due largely to the fact they have hardly had their best lineup available. So, based on what we're hearing about Embiid's injury and what the 76ers plan on doing with that, with their draft picks, essentially probably trading it in the next few months here, does this make you feel more optimistic about the whole situation going on in Philadelphia?
I mean, you reading it like that, it didn't necessarily give me hope. It didn't necessarily give me doubt. Like I'm like the same place I was before you read it is the same place I'm at right now. But you know what I'm saying? Like you reading it, like I didn't move either way. Because it's still so many holes and so many uncertainties that like they didn't answer any of the uncertainties that I have. So I'm gonna speak on Joel first, and I'm gonna speak on my history of meniscus injuries.
Okay.
I played in Philly on a broken ankle, had a surgery, and I had another surgery at the end of the season. So I played on a broken ankle in the finals, which was I had a surgery and had 3 screws put in. I broke it again, and then that's when I played with the broken ankle, and then I ended up getting another surgery where I had a plate and 7 screws.
Oh, man.
My first game back, I broke my thumb, and I have a plate and 5 screws in my thumb. So I came back from all of those and played with. So that was 2001 and 1, and ended up playing 6, 7, 8 more years after that. I hurt my meniscus on the conditioning drill with the Cavaliers. The conditioning drill to go into the season. I heard it sounded like rubber. Somebody was twisting rubber. Did the drill, flew back home. So I was living in Georgia at the time. Flew back to Georgia that day. Did my normal what I was doing, play with the kids, didn't think anything of it. Woke up the next day and couldn't walk.
Really?
And had no idea what would happen. Couldn't walk, could barely walk. I mean, I could walk, but I was like, I couldn't do anything. I could walk like with a limp. So
what about before you went to bed that time? Did you feel anything?
Didn't feel anything. Nothing felt abnormal. Nothing felt abnormal to that next day. So
wow. Okay.
Called the trainer. They sent me down to the Hawks doctor. He did whatever he needed to do, and he was like, "You ever had a meniscus issue?" I'm like, "No." And then he said the doctor, he told, they had Philly people on the phone, and he said, "I think you tore." Not Philly, Cleveland people on the phone. And he's like, "I think you tore your meniscus." And I was like, "Oh, I didn't really even know what a meniscus was. So start learning and talking about that. They were like, oh, well, it's most people, you're only out for like 4 to 6 weeks, sometimes 6 to 8 weeks. So this is like September. And I go have the procedure, and I didn't really go to a specialist. I just went to, the doctor in Cleveland. Like, I didn't go to a specialist because it was like, oh, it's just a scope. Go home the next day, scope it, we clean it out, whatever. And they kind of explained what they were doing. And so I'm thinking like, okay, well, just get a scope. And the team was going to, I think, maybe China or somewhere. And I ended up not going because I stayed back for the procedure. And then as I started going, I got the procedure, and as I started rehabbing and trying to get back ready to play, I found that it never really got back to where they said it was going to go. Like, it never really got back to a form where I would play, and then I would feel like I would get better. Like, I felt like every time I played and every time I practiced, the swelling came back every single time, to this day.
Did you keep going back and letting them know that?
So what I'm saying, so I know I've gained weight and all that stuff now, so that's different. But back then, I didn't have, that wasn't my issue. So I'm saying even then, I was getting my knee drained, and the swelling would come right back after the game. Swelling come right back after the practice.
When you told your surgeon and docs that, what did they say?
My doctor told me the way my legs were kind of, bowed at the bottom, bow leg a little bit, that was probably the worst injury I could have.
Okay.
Because of the way my legs are in the stage of my career, so most of the weight would go on the inside of my knees. So it's going to be a tolerance thing. And then it was swelling and tolerance, so I could actually play with it. But then it was like the swelling. It would swell right back up after every game, after every practice. So that's why I was saying my last year, I ended up not even playing that much. And then I was like, dude, I can't do this anymore. I'm done. Like, I'm done. And I gave the examples of my ankles before because I never felt like that at any time when I had all those ankle surgeries. And I never felt like I'm done. But when that happened with meniscus, and even now, I have osteoarthritis in my knees, and it's basically bone on bone on my left knee. I basically don't have a meniscus. My right knee is just barely there, but my left one is basically bone on bone. So it catches. You'll find yourself, it feel like it's giving out. Like, you have all of that. So I don't know if Joel was there, and I hope he isn't. But all I'm saying is my experience with meniscus has me really, really guarded on his ability to return because of my experience. So I'm hoping his isn't like that. But the missing time and not really necessarily anything happening, and the swelling and all the terms that they're using are all the terms that I know I'm familiar with.
How much longer, in your mind then, how much longer did you want to play? You envisioned at the time?
I felt at that time of my career, if I was clean slate, if I didn't have injuries, I felt, because I had, like, at that time, I had been a starter and then a reserve. Like, I was a starter the year before, and then I went to reserve that year before we went to the finals. So I had never really been at that point an end of the bench guy to kind of like help the young guys. I had never been that guy. So I know that I could have at least played 3 to 4 more years because I never took upon that role to kind of transition into sort of the Kyle Lowry role. You know what I'm saying? I never transitioned into that kind of role to kind of help young guys out and be there if you need it and practice and all that stuff, and then transition maybe into coaching or whatever it was. So I felt that I could have at least done that for 3 to 4 more years.
Yeah.
And I did 14. So I felt I could have done, that was 13. So I was counting as 14, even though that last year I didn't play. So I know I could have did a 14, 15, at least 16, somewhere around there, easily.
Yeah.
Easily. I could have done that.
Yeah, and especially with not playing as much. Whenever you did come in
Yes.
to play a lot of minutes of the game, you would have been fresh. That would have been high quality in that game too, right? Yeah.
Yeah, I could have done that. Especially, I mean, when your salary is, like I know coaches that would have taken me on the minimum salary in a heartbeat. You know what I'm saying? So, but I had no interest in doing it. No interest in doing it. I felt like I couldn't do it. Like I honestly felt like I can't do this anymore. Like I can't get my knee drained. And I did a cortisone shot one time. I said never again. So, and that was when I was with Philly.
Yeah.
So I refused to get all that stuff.
Man.
So I developed Achilles tendonitis from my ankle surgery. So it was, I don't know how I developed, but I had Achilles tendonitis. That felt worse than the break.
Really?
And that's where I got the cortisone shot. And I was like, man, that made it feel worse. I was like, I'm done with that.
Man. Yeah, I mean, I hope it's some kind of setback.
So to answer your question, I don't feel better. I don't feel worse. I don't think that they really answered any questions for us. I really don't. I don't. I just think that they have to say the right stuff right now because it's still early. But I do think as the season goes on, they'll have to be a little more transparent, or Joel will have to be back. As time goes on, basically time is going to decide it. You know what I'm saying? So that leads into the next thing, whether they're playing for the draft pick or not. I think the time will decide that. I think time and how the season's going at a later date will determine that. I don't think you can determine that. I think you can say right now, yes, we're not worried about that. But as time goes on, that'll decide if they want to keep that pick or not.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, I can't say I'm much more optimistic because a lot of this is kind of what I already thought. I mean, I already thought this, but to hear people kind of reaffirm it's different. I figured they did their due diligence before handing them a blank check. I mean, they're not incompetent. Of course, I would hope they have done that.
I mean, you should do that for everyone. I Bleav you do that for everyone has to take physicals and all that stuff when you sign the contract. And sometimes you can still sign a guy if he has some form of injury, but what it is a lot of times is they don't I'm playing music, man, on my phone. I don't even know how to work this phone. Where did that come from? Music just popped up on my phone, man. It's like insurance, like will recover them, but if you have an injury kind of beforehand, then the issue is whether insurance is going to cover that injury or not. And if the Sixers would be on the hook if somehow he doesn't play because of that injury. That's what it's really about. That's what, you get the doctors and you take all these tests, and it's really about that. So, I would imagine with the doctors, they probably got it improved for insurance to cover it, or at least cover a percentage of it, so they wouldn't be on the hook if for some reason he signed that 190 and whatever he signed for, and then he can't play it. Because Joel's money's good.
Yeah.
It's just a matter of who's going to pay it.
I mean, in missing games to me, I'm so used to it, Joel, that's not my biggest concern right now. I would just want to know, it's not ideal, but it's just the messaging and lack of transparency that's come along with it. Like, it's just say he's out a month. But like this whole, like, is he going to play today? No, he's not going to play today. Is he going to play tomorrow? Maybe. We'll see. No, he's not going to play tomorrow. It's like, dude.
But if you kind of hear part of what I said, I know I said a lot. When I was like, you feel like you can play, and then when you play, it's a tolerance thing, and then all of a sudden, so they may say you can play, but it's how much can you tolerate? And then if you go out there and say, okay, well, I feel pretty good, you go out there, you can tolerate it, then you go out there and try to get ready, as their words is ramp up. So he missed all this time again, so that he's not just going to show up. He's going to have to do something on the court. You do something on the court, you feeling good, then all of a sudden you feeling good, and you finish a workout, and then the next day you come in, as your knee swollen again.
So the thing is, though, if you're doing it like a, all right,
that's what I am envisioning is happening to him.
It makes sense, but let's say there's 100% of a bar you have to get before you are ready to play a full NBA game. Let's say he gets to 20% and then swelling, stop, slow it down, waits a couple of days. Let's say he gets to the 30, 40% and then swelling. Okay, stop. But like, if you're getting like not even halfway or not even close to that full bar, at what point you're like, all right, let's just stop everything for like a month straight. Like, don't they have any gauge of? I
agree with you saying, but technically, how many games did he play in? How many? 4 or 5?
Four.
Yeah,
four
games.
So he's played 4 games. He's played 4 games since August. It's December. He's played 4 games since August. So he really has taken months off. And he hasn't played a game in what, a couple weeks?
But we don't know the history of it if and when he had a setback, right? We just don't know any of that.
Those are the things that we're talking about with the uncertainties that they still haven't answered.
I know.
Where is this from? What is this from? Is this the same injury from before? Like, we don't know. Is it something new? Is it different? I mean, but you know, he scores 30 plus. He scores 30 points, and then he doesn't play again.
I know. And what's so weird is that he played.
So
he didn't miss a game after he came back in the Knicks. He played the whole Knicks series, and he played most of the time after he came back to close out the regular season last year, and that was a lot closer to his actual procedure. That's what's so baffling to me. He's had more time to rest after that, and you can play less? That's what just doesn't register with me. That just sounds so odd. There's a huge piece missing here. And I get it. They don't want to.
Yeah, I mean, that's what we've said. That's what we said from before, because we've said he played in the Olympics in early August, and now is when the season started, he's not playing. It's November.
And he didn't miss any practices for the Olympics. They said he was a full participant the entire time.
But it was no conversation about him being at a level where he wasn't ready to do anything. All we know, it just went from no preseason to ramp up, week, another week, 2 weeks, whatever, 2 or 3, come back, don't look better than he did previously playing, play 4 games, he's out again.
You're
like I told y'all, like I've said before. I firmly believe that he has an injury that is not getting worse. But it's also not getting better. That's the only thing I can think of. It's just not getting, and that's why I gave you guys the example of my meniscus. It was just like I could play, but then the swelling would still be there. I would get it drained and play, it'd still be there. Now we didn't have the technology and the procedures and the kind of wrap, legs, things that you could put on your leg to take away swelling and all that. We didn't have all that stuff. Even then, even the end of my career, we didn't have that. That probably could have helped. But for him, and he's not a small guy, so I don't know. I just here. What we do know is he's played 4 games. He hasn't played any. He's been out, and even in the 4 games that he played, he didn't look the same as before the January incident. He didn't look the same. He didn't look any better than he did in the Olympics. He didn't look any better than he did when he came back at the end of last season, in the playoffs or the end of the season. He didn't look any better, and that's all months and months ago. So I have to draw the conclusion that this is the same injury. And if you're saying it's the same injury and he has some form of procedure, will he need another one? How is it going to get better, and how is it going to improve? They're being very secretive with it, and that's their right. But it just draws more questions from us.
Yeah.
He was present at shoot around today, but did not participate in shoot around. Also reported that he has been doing some workouts the last few days. He's been doing work the last few days. So,
I don't doubt that.
Do you think if he never got suspended, do you think we would have seen him back on the court? Like, do you think if that whole thing never happened, do you think we would have still have shut him down? He'd be still ramping up till now? Like we've never seen him for those 4 games if he never got suspended?
That's a good question. I mean, that's a really good question. That's a really good question because I know somebody that worked in the league and worked for the league, and the one that worked for the league and not presently, he said that, he's coming back for sure now, and he's going to play a few games before, and then he just said he has to play. No, his exact words was he has to play now, and he can't just play 1 game. That was his exact words to me. Like I said, he does not work for the league. I say presently, he worked in the NBA, and he was like, he said, I'm telling you right now, he has to play, and he's not going to play just 1 game. Now, he didn't put a number on that. He just said, I'm telling you, he's not going to play just 1 game and then go sit down. Because he felt that would cause another investigation from the NBA for that. For him saying he was back just to get the suspension over with,
out of the way
for an injured guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thing is, though, like the suspension lingers, but why couldn't he just, whenever he's about to come back, to say he's coming back 2 days earlier or 2 games earlier, right? Like, what is it? You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
why couldn't
you can do that, but that's the thing about it. But that's the thing about it. Like, we really don't know what that is or what that looked like as far as how long he's going to be out. Like, I don't think they knew. I don't think they knew like anything about his injury.
Yeah.
Crazy, man. Hopefully things.
Yeah.
Hopefully, next week, and they haven't ruled him out for next week yet. So there's a glimmer of hope that we see him.
Still buy tickets. That's why.
Yeah, and I saw the tickets for the game on Wednesday dropped to $2. You get Sixers Magic tickets for $2. Probably the lowest price you can get Sixers tickets since the process era, I have to imagine. And the Sixers Celtics game in February
for
$2 for $2 for Sixers Magic game.
The lower bowl? No, I'd imagine that's not lower bowl.
No, I think there are nosebleed tickets, but the fact they were as low as $2, that was what everyone was talking about on Twitter.
Yeah. So they're basically giving them away. Yeah.
I guess people aren't as hyped up on Yabusele and McCain as we are.
I guess not.
They hyped up on them. Sold some different expectations, so that's what they're expecting.
Yeah, and even the Sixers Celtics tickets in February, those have gone down significantly across the board. Like those were like for good tickets, you probably had to pay like $300 for those things. Now I'm seeing like good solid tickets for $150, $140 for those for the Celtics Sixers game. Because people don't want to go see a bloodbath.
They're gonna get purchased. They're just gonna get purchased by the wrong team's fan.
That's true. That's true. All right. Well, now we're going to get to some questions from our fans, our subscribers here. We have 2 questions from our fans, and here we go. So our first question is from our guy, iKicks76. Question: if all 3 of you were the GMs of this team, fun, which direction will you go in the next few months? A, wait till all the players are healthy and try to go for a championship this year. B, trade Embiid at or before the trade deadline and rebuild and tank for Cooper Flag. C, shut Embiid down and let the young guys play and develop and make decisions in the summertime. Or D, none of the above.
I think, like I think I've said this before. My answer to this is like I got 2 different answers. Right now, I would wait and try to see if we can get healthy and still try to make it to the playoffs. We've seen Miami make the finals from a play-in or 8th seed a couple years ago. So that would be my right today plan. And then I wouldn't trade Joel. I would probably shut him down, but I wouldn't trade him. And I would probably do that after the trade deadline. After I see like the playoffs isn't, or just getting out of hand, or he truly can't do it. But I wouldn't trade him. No, I would never trade a guy like that during the season.
Well, technically, you could do a combination of these 3 choices because where we are in the standings, which is what I would probably do. You could try to still compete for a championship with our guys, and then if health keeps getting in the way, then you move to a combo of B and C. You shut down Embiid, which would essentially take a Flag, which would be kind of be the best world. You get to keep Embiid and you get to have a shot at Flag. But I see why they're saying we're going to not keep this pick because we have to be – it's bottom 6 protected, right, or top 6 protected. So we'd have to have a pick.
Yeah.
Have a pick.
I get all that. I understand that.
Yeah. So are we going to be bottom 6? As bad as we are right now, we are 1, 2, 3, 4th worst in the league. As bad as we are right now. So that right there, we're already in danger of losing that pick because it doesn't mean you're going to get the 4th overall. It means you have the 4th best odds to get the 4th. So you can easily.
I mean, that's what I'm saying. We don't. There's no guarantee. There's no guarantee we're going to be the number 1 pick.
Yeah, not at all. So yeah. I mean, if you're the number 3 pick. And you send the number 1 team, the number 3 pick, and Embiid, do you get the number 1 pick that way? Is another question. So, it's food for thought on that one.
Erica, are you high on Flag as much as a lot of these experts are, and everyone in the entire world is really high on him, saying he's the next big thing? Are you high on Cooper Flag?
Yes, I mean I like him. I do like him. I think the NBA game will be better for him than the college game. I think he'll come and put up numbers. I think he'll be a double-double guy. I'm not sold on whether he would be a generational talent. I think he'd be a perennial all-star. He's capable of that. But a generational talent, the LeBron James and the Kobe Bryant's, like that's where I'm not. I don't know if he's one of those guys, but I do think he's a very special talent that's going to make an impact in the league eventually.
How would you see him fitting with our line? Let's say we do keep Embiid. I mean, hypothetical here, obviously. Let's say we keep Embiid, we somehow get the number 1 pick. How would he fit? Would he fit well?
I think he fits perfect. I think he fits perfect because he's the 4 that we kind of been talking about. He can shoot it from the outside. He's 4, got good size. He can handle the ball. So I mean, he fits right into our lineup for a kind of rotating door that we has at that starting position at the 4. Like he fits our team. which makes it even more intriguing to at least try to, maybe go for it. But that's kind of a double-edged sword because you've been selling that we're going for championships, and then now all of a sudden you're like, hey, no, that's not the case. Well, I mean, like I said before, when you need to go, you got to go. So they have to make a decision on that because I do think it's worth, going after a guy like that. But I don't think we're going to be anywhere close to the worst record.
Yeah,
I
Wizards
don't think so.
lost
Even if Joel doesn't come back, the way the Wizards have looked the last few games, I don't even think they're even trying. I don't think there's a chance for us to have
16 straight.
And then we know Utah is, the teams in the West, like there's some other teams that they're going to kind of start. I don't want to say start losing on purpose. I'm saying, but when they're losing, it's not that big of a deal. But if we lose, we losing a lot. We're losing not more than games. We're losing faith. We're losing fans. So you got to make a decision with that. Like you got to be careful with just saying, "Hey, we just want to tank for a guy," and because that could spoil. I mean, that could spoil a lot of things, a lot of positive that you had going on.
Yeah.
Especially if you're tanking and if you don't end up getting Cooper Flag, you end up being a top two.
That's what I'm saying. That's why I said that's the tough part because there's no guarantee we're going to get him. But I mean, I guess he's worth trying.
Or even keep our pick.
I mean, if you can keep the pick, then maybe you can move it. Like I know keeping the pick does give you leverage to do something, even if you don't get a guy like him. It may be
I'm saying
else.
Yes. Let's say you tank and you got bad luck and you get out of the top 6 and we lose our pick. That'd be terrible.
Yeah, that's even worse. That's probably the worst scenario that could happen.
I mean, that would be like devastation right there.
Yeah, that'd be awful.
And I mean, dude, Wizards losing 16 straight. They're losing by an average of their differential 17 minus 17.
Yeah, you should hear some of the Wizards fans around here, man. They are bummed.
Bad. It is bad. I mean, there's just like
they're excited about what they can get for Malcolm Brogdon, though. They are happy about what they could probably
get.
They're
going to sell, dude. They're going to sell hard on that because I mean, they'll just get worse.
Yeah,
they'll just get worse.
Yeah,
it's addition by subtraction for them for what their hopes are.
Oh yeah.
But see the same thing for them after a year like that. You better get number 1.
Mm-hmm.
You're losing by an average of 17, a differential of 17 points a game at this point. You don't get number 1 pick, that's bad.
It's terrible.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's gonna be a tough race with Utah and I mean New Orleans. They might just shut down Zion. Well, how that's going?
Yeah. All right, our next question here. It's more of a fun question for you, Eric. So what? This is from Rupert Pupkin 2660. What was Eric Snow's favorite favorite Allen Iverson moment on or off the court?
Man, there's so many moments. I don't know if I even have a favorite. To be honest with you, there were so many good ones. I'll probably pick just the kind of first thing that comes to my mind was the 50-point games in the series against Toronto. Those 2 50-point games.
Yeah.
That was special. I mean, a lot of people say the step over in the Laker game and in that game 1, I didn't see the step over, so I didn't see it until I seen the replay. So, but that's kind of an easy one. So I'll say that series, those 50 pieces, because Vince gave us 50, so Allen definitely made up for it. So I will say right now that's probably one of my top moments.
Any off the court?
Yeah, I can't mention them though. A lot of those, some really good ones too.
That's funny. I know Iverson was one of the big guys for you. What was that? Any fan favorite moment for you?
Man, I mean, again, like he said, just so many, dude, so many highlights over the years that he had. The Jordan cross-ups, iconic for me. He had a couple tip dunks early on in his career that were just like, man, he's for real. The 10 steal game that he had. That whole playoffs, the whole playoffs that year that Eric mentioned was just amazing. But I mean, yeah, it was just, I remember I bet so many of my friends in high school that we would not get, all we had to do, I just bet we wouldn't get swept against the Lakers. And they thought I was crazy for taking that bet. I was like, no way in hell we're going to go out of this series and not win a game after this. So like, dude, you guys are torn to shreds, you're injured, blah, blah. I was like, it doesn't matter, man. We're getting a game. We're getting a game. So cash out of that bet early in that first game. But I remember watching that. It was just, yeah, it was amazing to even get one off of them, man, because that team is one of the best teams of all time. You spoiled a mini undefeated season for them in the playoffs. And I know winning it would have been obviously ideal, but even getting a game off that team, man, was just, especially with the shape we were in as far as injuries, crazy.
And to think that, Eric's that team that Eric was on is still, we still haven't got to that point since Eric was on the team.
I know.
It's just wild.
It ain't easy.
No, it's not.
You can tank for five. Talking about tanking, you tank for 5 or 6 years straight. Doesn't guarantee you anything.
Yeah.
Fun times. Okay, so now we're going to get to our final topics here. We got game picks. We have 2 games before we see each other again on Tuesday. So tonight, the Sixers will host Orlando Magic again. The Sixers are so last night we were a 2.5-point underdog. Now I think we are a 3.5-point underdog with PG back in the fold. Who do you guys have in this one, and how do you guys see this game going?
I mean, I think kind of the way that Orlando plays, especially without their best player, man, I think we can figure it out. I think we can figure it out and obviously cover because we win the game. I mean, I kind of feel that way. I know I'm a heart guy with the Sixers more than the brain guy, but I really feel we're going to beat them tonight. I do. I feel we're going to get them tonight. And we almost had them the last game, and Maxey didn't even have a great shooting game, but yeah, I think we'll get them.
Yeah, we lost the first
I think
game
they have trouble
12.
defending us. They have trouble defending us.
We lost the first game by 12, lost this last game by 4. I think we just continue that trend and win this game by about 4 to 6. I think, again, lost the first game without Maxey, lost his last game without George and Embiid. I think George adding him to this, how we played last game, I think that addition propels us. I think we go up because of that. I think we win.
I gotta love McCain talking crap to Orlando Magic's bench. That guy's the legend's growing game by game with that guy. I might have to start paying my nails soon, guys. I think I might have to do the Jared McCain, get it red and blue nail polish.
I'm not doing that. I'm not going that route.
Oh, come on.
All right, so our final topic, game picks.
I won't even get a clear coat. I'm good.
We have Sunday. We will travel to Chicago to play the Bulls. Obviously, the line is not out yet, but I highly anticipate PG playing in that since it's not a back-to-back. Who do you guys have in that Bulls-Sixers game on Sunday?
Bulls have been really up and down.
They have been up and
down. They
just
had a big game with 2 of their guys. I don't think we win that one. I don't feel good about that game. I know Joel has really dominated them, but I don't feel good about the game. I think their size can hurt us, especially if Drummond doesn't play. So we'll see. maybe if Drummond plays, I'll feel better about it. But I'm not sure how I feel if he doesn't play.
They call it the Drummond revenge game on Sunday.
Yeah. I mean, if he plays, I think we can win if he plays, and he's ready to play.
Yeah, he might play tonight, so hopefully he plays tonight. Then gets a couple days off and then plays on Sunday.
Yeah.
Tage, who do you have in this one, buddy?
Yeah, if he's questionable tonight, I mean, hey, it's hard to judge any of this anymore. Especially our injuries. If he's questionable tonight, I would hope he plays against his former team, right? That'd be good to have him back. We need him for that one, man, because Vooch, you start doing we do one of those Yabusele at center lineups against Vooch. He's going to eat us alive, man. I mean, he had 39 last game. He'll do the same thing against us. But I think if Drummond plays, I think we get a second win in a row. I think we beat the Bulls. They've been up and down, like you said, and I think we would match up well if Drummond plays. I'm sure they battled a lot in practice.
Oh yeah, no doubt.
Yeah.
But yeah, they showed Drummond shooting around earlier today, so he should be ready to come back, hopefully. And very interesting. I don't know what is next week. The tournament, the in-season tournament, the playoffs for that, because we don't have a game till the 13th, so we don't play after Sunday's game. We don't play till the 13th.
Next week, yeah, next week.
Okay.
Yeah, they'll reschedule some games once. They should be giving us opponents. Yeah.
Okay.
We don't know who it's going to be.
So do you think based on the break that we're going to get this week, I mean, obviously it's up to anyone's guess, do you think that would probably be the time to say Embiid would be coming back after this Bulls game?
Makes sense.
I mean, I don't know. I'm tired of guessing. I have no idea because I don't have all the information.
It would make sense for them to do it, but can't make sense of anything anymore, man.
Well, it doesn't make sense for them to do it if we don't really know if he can do it. We don't know if he can do it. So why say he's going to if we don't know if he can?
It's true.
Crazy. It's unfortunate.
Crazy. But all right, guys. Well, that does it for us. We will see you guys on Tuesday. Hope everybody has a good weekend.
All right, guys. Enjoy the games.
See you guys.
All right.